Joining me on the line right now is Scott Nicholls of the Canadian Rugby League. He is the assistant coach of the Team Canada Wolverines. Team Canada plays a test match tomorrow at Lamport Stadium in Toronto at 7 p.m. against the Jamaica Reggae Warriors. It's the third time this is the third annual Caribbean Cup. And Canada just came off a very impressive victory recently against the U.S. They're playing 3 matches this year. But the game tomorrow night, and actually when Canada played against the U.S. recently at Lamport, it attracted a crowd of 7,200, which is quite impressive. John, thanks for joining me today. Tell me a little bit about, first of all, because I was just talking to somebody that's familiar with Canadian Rugby League. Just tell me a little bit about Canadian Rugby League and why this particular rugby league, which is a little different from rugby as we know it, because this rugby league goes back to the origins of rugby as we know it.
Yeah, good morning, Terry. Yeah, it certainly does. Like I say, the rugby league itself is a fraction that splits off from the public school boys in kind of Britain and stuff, and the lower class people. It's played with 13 players as opposed to 15 players. It's a lot more demanding. It's a more physical sport, and to me, you've got to be more fitter to actually play it. You can't hide whether you're a winger or a forward. You're constantly moving, and it's a thrilling sport. And like I say, for spectators to see action end to end of the field, it's quite amazing.
So Canada played the U.S. recently. Canada came back and beat again the U.S. The score was 36-20. The U.S. is ranked 12th. Canada is ranked 19th. Jamaica is ranked 22nd. So what are the objectives? Obviously, if Canada had beat the U.S. and the U.S. Is ranked higher, then I'm assuming this was a fairly big deal in terms of what Canada is trying to accomplish in terms of elevating its rankings and just elevating the competition so it could become, in years to come, because it's a fairly new sport, in years to come, just one of the more prominent competitive countries in this particular sport.
Almost definitely. I mean, the ultimate goal, I think, is to develop and build the squad for the World Cup in 2017. And obviously, it was quite an amazing victory. I think it's testimony to Jamie, Lester, myself, Paul Buchanan, team manager, who's actually, structuring it all and kind of like educating the guys to actually play the sport and bring the strength and conditioning. Like I say, amazing victory against the USA. They become an expect to beat us. They're actually in the World Cup. It was part of their World Cup warm-up. And the guys dug really deep, showed great spirit, and like I say, the last 20 minutes with the crowd behind them was just absolutely amazing. It really was.
You know, when Jamaicans, when it comes to just rooting for their country in whatever sport it is, they're very vocal. They're very passionate. So, and there's a huge Jamaican community in the Toronto area. When Canada plays against Jamaica tomorrow night, will you expect the crowd to be more partisan towards Jamaica because of that just rooting interest, or do you find that Canada, when it comes to these test matches, there is a lot of interest, a lot of support for the Canadian team?
Oh, there is definitely. Like I say, we expect. I think the capacity of the stadium is around about 8,000, and I think tomorrow we're going to be close to actually pushing the limits. I mean, like I say, the Canadians are very, very passionate as well. Everybody that was there, whether or not they actually know the rules of rugby league, it's Team Canada. It's a national sport, and it is an amazing sport that's we're trying to develop within Canada, and we've got such talent. It's unbelievable. And like I say, it's the guidance and the conditioning that we're trying to bring forward now. So, in years to come, I say 2017, the goal is to get Canada into the World Cup.
Now, again, right now the weather in Toronto is oppressively hot. Tomorrow night, assuming the weather stays like it is, and even if the game's at 7 o'clock at night, all things being equal, this is going to be an incredibly, demanding test. And I don't mean to use test in parentheses, but it would be an incredible test just of endurance, of just conditioning. How do you get the players conditioned to be able to withstand this type of temperature, this type of condition?
be honest, we have been working over the last month or so on the conditioning on the players. I mean, we've been training, like say, Wednesday evening we put in a really good session. The temperatures, are quite high, but the conditioning is minimum amount of rest, and basically we just push them through exercise after exercise after exercise, and normally the sessions last between an hour and a half and 2 hours. The first hour mainly concentrate on conditioning and fitness. And the guys have done amazing. They are in good condition for tomorrow night, and hopefully, not hopefully, I'm quite positive the guys are going to come away with the win. Like I say, they're all gelling well together as a team, which is very, very important. And yeah, it is going to be an amazing game. And like I say, for everybody that wants to come down to Lamport Stadium, we're also giving away the first 1,000 people through the gates are going to get free tickets to the Norway game, which is on the 2nd of September. So yeah, it's going to be good, Perry. Very, very good. Good for the sport, and also the players are really, really pumped for it.
When it comes to soccer matches, a lot of the countries have their own cheers, their own kind of, they hear them singing. Do they have these types of things in your types of games?
They do. Not so much over here, but over in the UK, the crowd get behind their team, and they have their little chants. But like I say, it's come on Wolverines, let's take it to the line and get the tries, and like I say, it's going to be very entertaining.
Do these players have full-time jobs, or is this their full-time job?
No. All the players they've all got their full-time jobs. This is it's kind of like amateur. Nobody gets paid for this. They do it for the love of the country. And like I say, all the coaches, they put all in their free time to develop the squad. Paul Buchanan, the team manager, puts in a lot of work. There's a lot of people, Glenn Simon, a lot of people do put in the effort and give their free time, to develop sport and to try and push us to our goal to get into the World Cup.
The World Cup, again, it's going to take place later this year, if I'm not mistaken. Is that Old Trafford? That's where they're going to have it. It's between... that's where the final is, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
It is indeed, yes, in the UK.
And just reading about it, I got the impression that final could have as much as like 60,000 plus watching that game.
Oh, definitely, yeah. I mean, I was kind of one of the pioneers in the UK that brought rugby league to the Midlands. The West Midlands is where I'm from. Commentary Rugby League, and predominantly like rugby league is like a northern sport for northerners and stuff, and like I say, but now over the last 10 years since it started to develop, it's pushed all its way down, all the way down into London, down the way through to Portsmouth. They've got teams, Bristol. Like I say, we started off kind of like small in the conference leagues, and develop. Like I say, it's by educating the players, and once you get the players on board, it's even like converting people from playing rugby union to league. It's amazing. A lot of the skeptics there that say, "Oh no," and they kind of doubt the sport. But once they play it, people are just like, it is amazing. It's for whole body conditioning. It's fantastic.
The U.S., as I read, just doing some research yesterday, qualified from the Atlantic qualifying group. In 2011, there was 3 countries in it. It was the U.S., Jamaica, and South Africa. If Canada is going to make it into the World Cup in 2017, would they go through the same process as the U.S. did? Would there be more countries in there because Canada is one of the newer countries? How would the whole thing work?
Sorry, say it again, Harry.
I'm saying because U.S. qualified in 2011 was the first time that they had qualified, and they came from, again, if I'm not mistaken, they're from the Atlantic qualifying group, and again, if I'm just following the same research that I did, there was 3 countries that were attempting to qualify from the Atlantic group. That was the U.S., Jamaica, and South Africa. Would Canada be trying to go through that group again, and would there be a 4th country added? How does the whole thing work?
Yeah, well, to be honest, we're going to go through exactly the same process. The thing is, we take one step at a time, developing we've got such a young squad, at this moment in time. Increasing the playing ability and beating whatever teams come in front of us. Like they've got the Norway, we've got USA away, and then the final game's back here on the 27th, I believe, 28th, sorry,
Yep.
which is going to be really, really thrilling. So, we're going to deal with this year, and then obviously we'll look at the structure for next year. And just move forward, 1 year at a time. But like I say, it's getting the more people aware, because there's so many players out there are really, really talented that, like I say, we need to scout them, we need to bring them on board, and that's going to be the way forward.
And just to follow up what you're saying right now, so that would be the third game, September the 28th at Lamport, the third game of the Colonial Cup. The U.S. has won the Colonial Cup every year since it started, which was started in 2011. So this is the fact that started in 2010. The fact that that Canada won, the first game of this 3-test series. I'm assuming in the evolution of the Canadian Rugby League, that was a big deal.
Oh, it was an absolutely. It was. You can't really put into words what it actually meant for all the coaching staff, that every team member. And in itself, to actually beat the USA, just in this short period of time, to put a squad together that has achieved that. Jamie Lester, fantastic head coach. It just shows what we can actually do in the future. Okay, we're setting the goalposts high because you have to in order to achieve. And like I say, the players themselves, have responded really, really well, and like they want it as well. They're passionate about it, and that's what counts.
Well, John, thanks for joining me today again. The Canadian Wolverines will be playing, Canada Wolverines will be playing the Jamaica Reggae Warriors tomorrow night, 7 o'clock at Lamport Stadium. That is a test match. Canada recently beat the U.S. in the first of 3 games in the Colonial Cup. First 1,000 people that come to the game tomorrow night will get a free ticket for the game between Canada and Norway at Lamport on September the 7th. John, thanks a lot for joining us today and just teaching us and educating a little bit about the Canadian Rugby League, Team Canada, the sport itself, and tremendous victory recently and what that's going to mean going forward. Thanks again.
Thank you very much, Barry. Have a good day.
You too. Thanks.